Good morning, everyone. Many thanks to the organizer for having me here to speak on a topic, role of imaging biomarker in precision oncology. I am Ashish Kumar Jha from Tata Memorial Hospital. I am also associated with Maastricht University as PhD researcher. Today, let's discuss the topic. Good morning, everyone. Thanks to organizer for having me here. I am Ashish Kumar Jha from Tata Memorial Hospital. Today, I am going to speak on role of imaging biomarker, that is radiomics, in precision oncology. First, let's understand what the precision oncology is. In conventional cancer treatment, we have a disease. For that, we have an established treatment. We provide that treatment to the patient, and we have four kind of patients. One is responder, having no side effect. Second, no response, no side effect. Third, have response but have side effect also. And fourth group is have no response but have loss of side effect. Why it happens? Because all the patients are not similar, and here one treatment fits for all doesn't work. That led to the birth of precision oncology. Precision oncology defined as molecular profiling of tumor to identify targetable alterations in the disease. So we have biomarkers. With the help of biomarkers, say we are able to categorize our patient in four subcategories, and we have different treatment to particular group of patient, and they respond very well, and they have least amount of toxicity. In precision oncology, we are heading towards giving individualized treatment. One patient, one kind of treatment. And if you see that historically we were giving organ-based or disease-based treatment, which was told that conventional treatment, and with the advent of biomarkers, we were able to subdivide the population of particular disease in subtype of disease, and we were treating them. And then with the help of genomics based identification, and we were able to have further subdivision, and ultimately in future with multi-omics concept, we will be able to identify a particular patient for a particular kind of treatment. So one study was conducted by Accenture. It's very nice study, and around 130 oncologists from US and Europe was interviewed, and they found that majority of them, around 80% oncologists, believed in precision oncology, but very few of them were practicing. Only 14% were routinely going to the molecular tumor board. 18% routinely used clinical decision support system, and only 41% routinely match the targeted therapies to the genomic alteration. So what may be the four essential steps to gain widespread adoption of precision oncology? First, standardization of the protocol, treatment protocol, availability of huge amount of data. We have to generate the data. Then we have to have a clinical decision support system to implement precision oncology. Then treating doctors should have faith in the system. So now let's discuss about imaging biomarker, that is radiomics. A famous article published in Radiology that images are more than a picture. They are data. Means till now that medical images were seen as an image, and that was interpreted by human expertise, and decisions were made. But with the advent of radiomics, we are able to mine huge amount of data from that medical image. So radiomics is high throughput of extraction of quantitative features from medical image and subsequent analysis of these features for decision support is termed as radiomics. So if we see the radiomic feature, we can broadly categorize these feature in three groups. First is first order statistics. It's mainly statistical operation of histogram and intensity. Suppose we want to know that randomness in the image, so we calculate entropy. If we want to know asymmetry in the image, we calculate skewness. If we want to know the flatness of the data, we calculate kurtosis. For shape-based feature, it's nothing, just to point out the significant information from the shape of the tumor in the form of mass volume and surface area by mass volume, sphericity, compactness, and flatness of the image. Then the third category is second or higher order statistical descriptors, that is also called textural features, and those features are GLCM, GLRM, GLSZM, NGTM, and GLDM features. These textural features will be discussed in detail in subsequent lecture, so I am not going in details. So what we do, we perform those operations on original image, and then we do filtering of the image with the help of Laplacian of Gaussian filter with different sigma value. In convention, we use 3 sigma value, 1 mm, 2 mm, and 3 mm. So one image is replicated in 3 images, and we perform the same operation on all the image except shape-based operations. We don't perform shape-based operations because shape remains the same. Similarly, we perform Wavelet transform of the image, and we generate 8 subsets of image, and on that image we perform radiomics operation, what we were discussing in previous slide, and we were able to generate huge amount of data. So from one sets of image, we are able to extract around 1200 radiomic features, and one can have many features as well by changing this sigma value of Laplacian and Gaussian fixed filter. So let's understand what the pipeline of radiomics. You have medical image, and in that you have a tumor. The first step is to segment that tumor. Mostly that segmentation is done manually by expert oncologist or radiation oncologist or radiologist or nuclear medicine physician or physicist. And after segmentation, those images are fed to that radiomic extraction software, and those software are able to extract these features like first order features, then shape-based features, then higher order features with all sorts of permutation and combination. And then once we have generated huge amount of feature, then we have to do feature selection to find out the robust feature, most valuable feature for your prediction endpoint. And with that feature, we develop a prediction model to predict an outcome in your image. So there are several limitations of radiomics. One of the limitation is image acquisition. You know that image acquisition varies between one center to other center, even in the center, because of having different equipment. So with the help, we have different imaging protocols like setting of KVMA, slice thickness, activity administered, and time of imaging, blah blah blah. Then image processing, we have different kind of imaging reconstruction algorithm. and they have lots of bearing on the extraction of radiomic features. Second is segmentation. Again, segmentation is, as I said, that majority of segmentation is done by manually, so it is operator dependent, but several initiatives are being taken to automate that. Then feature extraction software used, number of beans, bean width, or image filtering applied. So based on that, you can have different radiomics value extracted from different softwares. Then feature selection. Then features, one can apply different feature selection technique, and that can also lead to some amount of variations in that outcome. Then data sharing and multi-center trials. We have very little studies till now in which is multi-centric, or where the data is shared from different institutions. So how to overcome that limitation? So first is harmonize the acquisition and reconstruction parameter across the vendor, across the centers. Then development of IVSI feature definition, and then to develop robust automated segmentation technique, identification of most stable radiomic features and try to utilize those features, selection of most suitable clustering or machine learning techniques for particular outcome prediction, implementation of multicentric or distributed learning platform, implementation of decision support system in clinic. So these are the major steps which will be able to tackle the limitations of radiomic studies or radiomic implementation in the clinic. If you see that radiomic stability, various initiatives has been taken to harmonize that imaging protocol, that quantitative imaging network QIN has taken initiative, and it's working in the Western country to harmonize that imaging protocol across the centers and across the vendors. Then quantitative imaging biomarker alliance and imaging biomarker standardization initiative, they are working on that standardizing the radiomic extraction protocols. What kind of pre-filtering should be used, pre-processing, how the pre-processing of data has should be done. So these associations are working on these kind of work. Then various studies have been performed in the future which identify the stable radiomic feature. We performed similar studies, and that is published in Nature Scientific Report, that we performed a study on human and cohort and phantom, and we tried to find out that most robust feature with various permutation of combination that of imaging protocols as well as different vendors, and we were able to find out top 100 stable features which may be utilized for further radiomic prediction model development. Similarly, that there are so many software available, and they are giving different kind of results. So we have taken initiative to develop open source software with the help of pyradiomic package, and that is GUI based, and anyone who has little knowledge of computer or installing this equipment may use this, and entire source code is available on GitHub. That's the link given below. Then development of open source AI infrastructure is very important, and we have also worked on that. And in this work, we have developed a big imaging data pipeline which is able to extract data from your hospital IT infrastructure, and it's able to store in a server for federated machine learning, and it also adheres all the principle of FAIR. FAIR is your data should be findable, accessible, interpretable, and reusable. And that work is published in IEEE journal. Then one of the biggest issue is limitation of data, and that limitation can be overcome by having participation from many centers, many countries, and that is sometimes not possible because of lots of patient related data sharing related regulations. So another very important step to tackle that issue is distributed learning. So in this, that data remains locally. It is not shared by or with anyone, or not going anywhere from your organization. Rather than that learning model is, comes to the data, learns from that, and then it from different centers, from various centers, and then harmonize it and becomes a model, and ultimately goes and tests it from different participant institute, and the best model is generated out of that. So that may be one of the key steps to solve the issue related to multicentric trial or data sharing. If you see the trends of radiomics, so in late 80s and 90s, there were very few studies performed on textural analysis of PET and CT image. But if you see after 2010, that number of publication has increased a lot, and now we have every year we have more than 200 to 300 publication on the topic of radiomics, and that shows that the trend of radiomics and acceptance of radiomics, at least in academia and research, is growing very fast, and in near future there might be good clinical model, good radiomics model will be available for the use in the clinic. So what may be the scope of radiomics? First, diagnosis of disease. So any disease where there is a problem in diagnosis, or we have problem in taking samples of the tumor, then radiomics can help in diagnosing that disease if we have ample amount of data with earlier patient. Then subdividing the disease like biomarkers, it will able to segregate that patient of same disease in different groups. Third, the disease prognostication, it will give you that different, what will be the survival or progression-free survival, overall survival of the patient. Then it may also be helpful in selection of the treatment. So if you have n number of treatment for particular disease, then it will give you which treatment will be suitable for that particular patient. It can also give you outcome prediction, like what will be the future of that patient, what will be the toxicity profile, what will be your treatment outcome, or how many years your patient will live. So it can give you the prediction of such kind of prediction. So how that implementation of radiomics based decision support system is possible? So this image describes very well that in treatment clinic, physician or doctors are sitting and they are advising different kind of treatment to the patient, and ultimately on imaging or even on pathology image, that radiomic analysis may be performed. In pathology, it is called proteomic mix. Then it extracts the data from your image, and it generates a model, and that model will be used in the clinic, and that model will be self-learning model. If your model makes any mistake, it will learn from its mistake, and that may be the future of radiomic based DFS implementation in clinic. Another very important issue is to have a PACS system or any archival system which can store that radiomics data, and initiative has been taken. One study has also been published in that regard. To summarize, thousands of radiomic features can be extracted from medical image. Radiomic feature with the help of artificial intelligence can characterize the disease, predict the treatment outcome, and survival of the patients. Stability of radiomic feature is influenced by variability in imaging equipment and imaging protocol, and that need to be standardized. Then imaging biomarker standardization like IPSI, QIN, QIBA are taking steps to harmonize the radiomic features. Radiomics-based prediction decision support system can be implemented in clinic to assist precision medicine and oncology. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, you may ask. Thank you.